What up YouTube, Webhead Mike here, and this will be the final installment of the Zenkaikon LARP. This was day 3 in its final installment. This was where the 3 groups had to do their own parts of the project to ensure that the unification ritual would go as expected. Now, I can only really speak to my part in detail, but I'll give quick recaps on the others. So, again, it was our task to make a colossal pizza with different sections with toppings specific to each of the different regions that were participating in this. And oddly enough, despite our project being the literal most massive, we only had 4 participants. There was Circa, some sentient little hamster or gerbil. There was Darkwing Duck, Twilight Sparkle, and then Suzaku Kururugi, played by myself. And we were a little concerned because if there's only 4 of us, that puts a lot of pressure to make sure each of us were on our A game, but thankfully we were. When it came time for Suzaku to do the kneading and making of the dough in the proper size and shape, he got all of the successes he needed, which is, like I said earlier to my good GM friend of mine who was running another event, well, of course he succeeded. He didn't have a pesky Princess Euphemia distracting him this time. And that got quite a good laugh out of him. And it's good because when it came time for all of the other smaller ingredients, like dishing out metric gallons of tomato sauce and little toppings and cheese, Suzaku didn't quite have the fine skills to, like, you know, mesh out the cheese and the graters and slice out wheels because, I don't know, it's not something he was quite adept at. You know, you asked him to fight a whole army, he could, but I guess this was just out of his wheelhouse. But thankfully, this is where the other members of the crew were coming in. Twilight Sparkle probably used her magic to ensure that there was proper placement for like a cheese grater. Darkwing Duck was able to fit his motorcycle with proper tires to press down the dough and make it all spread out. So that all came together, and Circa was able to help Suzaku with finer areas and to recover from those little bits of cheese wheel cuttings that weren't going quite so well. So then, yeah, we were able to successfully make the colossal pizza for each region involved in this. Then there was Master Splinter doing his tournament with a member of each group that were either that had a novice and an expert from each region participating in this. So that way everyone would be able to see what were the exceptional qualities and drawbacks to each specific style and group and region. And then there was the incantation ritual that had components from each of the regions also. Thankfully, that was successful too. And then eventually, all the artifacts and all the rituals were able to eventually foster a physical manifestation of this unity by a tree that grew in the center of all the kingdoms. It was grand in scope and expressing all who were involved. And I think it was just pressing more upon the desire that everyone needs to not focus on the differences between us, but what makes each of us exceptional, and not get hung up on these little details that can just interrupt what could be a flourishing unity. Which I thought was a nice little message to end on. Of course, I have to wonder if they knew, if everyone knew a lot about each other, would this happen? But I would have to imagine after everything we've been through, I would have to say yes, and we'll see, because I'll be going to an Otakon LARP with some of the same people in about a week or so. But yeah, so that was the end of it. I think that took about 3 hours in total, because there was also the ending meeting and making sure everyone was all wrapped up. And even after that, there was then, to my surprise, what should I call it? A standout celebration where people would nominate the best role players from the entire experience. And to my shock, Suzaku, me, got chosen too. Which, you know, I know I'm a good role player, but I am in a new system, new people, and I was just trying to figure out like where I would fit in. But when I checked in with the person who nominated me and the people who voted for me, now granted I didn't win, but it was so sweet to see how everyone recognized how hard I was trying to make sure I fit into where I could be. I did my role playing best I could, based on the situation. Everyone loved the lines I used in character. And considering my competition was people like Judy Hopps, Judy Hopps and her Fox companion, who actually won the nomination, which I thought was totally earned. I mean, I didn't get to be in every scene they were in, but when I was, I'm like, okay, this is clearly their wheelhouse, firing off on all cylinders. But it gives me hope that I can look forward to another great experience with Otacon's LARP, playing the same character. Now, I didn't quite intend for that to happen. I chose another before him, but the way things came out, I got Suzaku again. And we'll see how well he does, because in this Zenkaikon LARP, Suzaku was a total asset outside and inside of his mech. His Nightmare Frame Lancelot. And that was just so cool because, you know, these characters don't just have to be where they are. Like a Swiss Army knife, you can find these different aspects of yourself and apply them to the best possible use in the situation, and all the while remaining in character. So that was my experience with Zenkaikon's 2023 LARP. I look forward to also giving updates to the Otacon LARP within a month, and yeah. Alright. Thank you for your time. Please consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, Webhead Mike, out.